Hi, this is János, it's Real World Audio, and let's talk about cabinet, live cabinets and cabinet materials and strategies for bracing. And this video was really inspired by Edward Brockman, and he is doing a series on the Voice of Lancelot speaker build, and he had shared a lot of things about his strategies on bracing his cabinet, and when you see the videos you will find that he is using more bracing than I do, and I would like to share with you why he's doing that, why I'm using super minimal bracing. So I'm technically not using any bracing in the Voice of Lancelot. I just have an inner structure which is like an inner frame, but all of the panels, both outside and both inside, which is the inner panel for the transmission line, those are not braced and there's no extra stuff on them. So I would like to talk more about that and more about the choices when you can be successful with not bracing something, and why is it so rare, why you almost never find it with audio gear to have minimal to no bracing, and why are most speakers braced to death, and that's why they are called inert or dead cabinet. And the reason for that, I think I would like to take everyone on a journey to see how music instruments are being made, and specifically I'm going to have a look at guitars and violins, and not just violins but the violin family, which includes cello and the upright bass. So it's basically from violin to upright bass. It's getting like bigger and bigger and bigger, and you will see that there's a noticeable difference with the bracing of violins compared to the bracing of guitars. But within guitars there's like different levels of bracing, and what is the difference between them? And the same difference applies for loudspeaker cabinets as well. So the same conditions when you need less bracing for a musical instrument, they also apply for audio speaker cabinets. If those conditions are met, you need less bracing and you will find better results with lowered bracing. So first of all, let's have a look at a guitar. And here is the interior of a guitar. As you can see, this is actually the top. So this is the top panel of the guitar. As you can see, there's the hole there, and you see the bracing. Those lines, those straight lines, ding ding ding, and that line, and those dong dong. Those lines, those are the bracings. And what is their function? So their function is that when you have a guitar, and then the guitar will have strings, and then you will have a bridge on the top, and the person plucking the strings, and on the neck the person uses his finger to basically to make physical contact with the guitar's neck and the string. So when the string resonates, the resonance starts from a spot at the guitar's neck and runs to the back of the guitar cabinet through the bridge, and all of that, it will mean that both the neck of the guitar has some resonant properties as well, and through the bridge, this upper part of the guitar, the top part, it resonates as well. And depending on the qualities of the wood, if when there are imperfections and big differences between individual spots in the structure of the wood, then the resonances will behave differently in those regions. And what the bracings do is that they distribute the resonances across the surface of the guitar. And why is that so important? For 2-3 reasons. And one of the reasons being is that when the resonance is over a bigger surface, then that resonance will be able to resonate at lower frequencies and also transmit at a bigger surface. So it will be louder and it will be not just deeper as well, but it will also allow the transmission of a wider range of frequencies. And if it's just the resonance just localized to a single hotspot on the surface of the guitar, then that little hotspot is defined by its size, by its diameter. And its diameter tells you the lowest frequency where it will be able to resonate with high energy. And below that frequency there's going to be a sharp disconnect. So that's why instruments which are made with low-grade material, low-grade wood, that's why they don't sound good. That's why their tone is broken, because there is discontinuity on the surface of the main resonator surface, which is the top of the guitar. And that's what this bracing, and when you see, it is extremely light bracing. So what this extremely light bracing does, it allows that area, so if it starts resonating here like this, then that light bracing will transmit those resonances to a much wider surface area, so that hotspot will be drawn out, will be taken care of. And we need light bracing, because if it's a heavy brace, then that will choke the energy of the sound. So the sound will not be allowed to propagate over a wide surface area, but rather it will die, it will be dampened out. So that's why I don't like the word bracing used when we talk about active loudspeaker cabinets and music instruments. When we are thinking as loudspeaker makers or coming from the loudspeaker universe, because in loudspeaker universe, bracing means deadening, killing, dampening resonances. And in the world of music instruments, it means the exact opposite. So it means that we are distributing the resonances and we are allowing a much wider range of resonant surfaces to form. And we are also allowing a more rapid transmission of energy to the to this air in the room. And that's the main difference, that's the number one difference, as you get like a more refined guitars, as you go from like a $10 toy guitar that you get at a gift shop or a toy shop, and then you get like a beginner guitar, and then a serious guitar, and then like a Rodriguez guitar at the end of the journey. They get better and better in tone, not because of voodoo or magic or sacrificing creatures to create the varnish or whatever, but it's because measures are taken to allow resonances to form over the widest possible frequency spectrum and be transmitted to the air at the fastest speed. And that's two things contribute to them. One of them is the quality of the wood that is used for the music instrument. the higher grade the wood, the better it can resonate over a wider range of frequencies. If it's a poor quality wood, then it has a very narrow bandwidth at which it can resonate. And that's the same thing with loudspeakers. If it's a junk quality wood, and I'm talking about MDF here, which is an artificially manufactured wood product that compressed with under pressure with glue and urine. Yeah, they are using uric acid, which is the main component of urine. That's why the urine smells the way it smells, because of uric acid. So if someone says that the MDF is piss poor as a cabinet material, you can take it absolutely literally, because that's what's in there, like literally like liters of piss to make a loudspeaker cabinet. So maybe like collecting cow urine or something to have enough volume. So anyway, for MDF there is no wide range resonance pattern. So if you try to excite it, you will have problems trying to get it resonate over a wider range of frequencies. It will resonate at frequencies where it wants to resonate, and that's not pleasant because there is no grain structure, there are no fibers in it which allow the transmission of energy. Because the main difference between music instrument mentality and loudspeaker cabinet building mentality is that the common thing is that both of them are cabinets, and both of them fulfill the exact same function to amplify sound. That's why there is a cabinet for a guitar, to amplify the sound of the strings. Without a guitar cabinet, just the strings themselves, there's very little sound, only high frequencies, and even those are limited, and there's no bass. Same thing for loudspeaker cabinets. If you have a driver, no cabinet, much quieter sound and no bass. Absolutely same thing, the same function is fulfilled. And I would say maybe it's even harder to build loudspeaker cabinets, because with a loudspeaker cabinet you want to reproduce every single instrument. And when you build an instrument, you just want to reproduce the sound of that simple, maybe not simple, maybe complex instrument, but that alone. However, both of them take mastery and expertise and experience and knowledge how to implement properly. And the huge issue, the huge problem in the loudspeaker universe was that people try to implement the dead speaker bracing mentality to active speakers, and that's why all of these attempts have failed really big time, because the thinking comes from something that is so far removed from the world of music, from the world of music instruments, from the experience that guitar makers, that violin makers, that organ builders have amassed during the past half a millennia, that if we just neglect what music is about, how music is made, and we are trying to make devices that have absolute no relationship towards those music instruments we want to recreate in sound, it will be utter failure, total garbage. And when you look at audio shows or attempts, it's quite phenomenal, and I'm really excited what things are out there and how they sound. But one thing sure, they don't sound like music instruments, most of them. And when they sound like music instruments because the thinking that was done while creating those loudspeaker cabinets, they employed elements from how music instruments are built. So the number one reason why active cabinets have catastrophically failed for both commercial manufacturers and people trying to DIY them is because they tried using the same cheap shit that they tried to use for dead cabinets. And I'm not saying that like every MDF cabinet is crap. You can have beautiful speakers and live very happily with MDF, but you must not take MDF towards a live cabinet direction, because you will fail. You have to use high quality wood that is used for making music instruments. And the closer your wood resembles to the quality that music instruments use, the more you will succeed and the more it will resemble the sound of natural instruments. And here, let's just see that same thing from more close up. So that's the panel, the top panel before the rest was built around it. And you see that there's this, the biggest, the heaviest bracing is around this part where the big body narrows down, and then it extends at the two sides of the port, because that's the port of the guitar. And it gives support there because the resonances can get really strong there, and that's why they want to brace it and support the most there, to have those resonances spread out, so that they are not limited to around this ring around the port, but they are spread to the whole width of the body. And then these radial light braces, they make sure that they're also spread out to this big part, this big abdomen of the guitar. And when you go with higher grades of wood to make the guitar, the lighter these braces can become. And when you get a really crappy guitar, that's how you can tell it's crappy, because these braces are really thick and really strong, and that's when your guitar will sound like a broken guitar, really. And here, what sort of guitar was it? Hola! It was a Rodriguez guitar, and that's Maestro himself. So we are looking at an extremely high-level Spanish guitar here, and I got this photo and the story from, you can see, I hope you can read. Oh, now it focuses there. That's the website. If I won't forget, I will put it down so you can click on it, because you should click on it, because it's really an amazing story. Let me just get there. I hope I can get there. Where is my link? There it is. Look. So here's the website. This is where I took the picture from, and let's read what he writes. I believe that Miguel Rodriguez did some extra adjustments after he finished and strung the guitar to playing condition. But how much and where the location was will remain a mystery to some extent. A basic construction technique to achieve a hollow quality sound was known by many builders, but there were a few old masters that used some extra tweaking techniques to gain better voice and timbre. And most of these techniques were lost due to modern techniques that were expedient for quantity building purposes and never fully passed on, only in bits and pieces. And the same thing is true for loudspeaker making. The modern techniques are there to allow manufacturing on the vast scale, so we can mass produce hundreds of thousands of pairs of speakers. That's why everyone is using MDF, because that's the only thing that's available at such high amounts. So if you want to scale up to ad libitum, you must use MDF, because there's not enough high quality wood to allow production of that sort of quantity. And that's why building your own cabinet is so much more powerful, because then you can use that wood that a manufacturer is unable to use, because they need a quantity that is not available in a higher grade of wood, and that's why they need to use heavier bracing, and that's why the sound becomes that of a broken guitar. So if when we are looking at the quality of loudspeaker cabinets, the ones that are mainstream today, they would not fly for music instrument cabinets. They are really, really poor at that. And some of you would say, oh, that's the future, that's how it should be. I'm totally cuckoo for suggesting otherwise. I don't want to turn my speaker into a guitar or a violin. Am I completely out of my freaking mind to even suggest it? And I can tell you guys that I'm not completely out of my mind, and when you do it, it will be a revelation for you. And only if you listen for tone. If you listen for tonality of the instrument, listen for guitar, violin, you listen to human voice, you listen to flute, piano, harpsichord. These instruments with live cabinet, they come to life. It's that experience that as experiencing a piano in your room. What Edward was saying is that now I can hear the body of the piano, and it's not just strings with a ghost just floating in my room. It's high def, I can see it, but there's no body to it. Where's the wood? Where's the piano? There's just an echo, a very sharp echo, an etched echo, an over sharpened echo, but just if you have a real piano in the room, just press a key, and even if you just press a single key, you don't need to play anything. It will just demonstrate how broken this modern approach is to approximate the tonality of instruments. So I think when you read further, then what he will say is that what the maestro did was that he reached inside that hole. Let me just make the picture bigger. And he lightened those braces. So he removed bits of those braces. So what he did, we don't know, but here it is